Today we're going to be talking about what Carmelo Anthony's career can help you with your identity. How's it going, guys? drtankpharmd here, board-certified practicing pharmacist and personal health coach, helping action takers like you take back control of their lives and emotional health. And although I am a practicing medicine specialist, I'm not your specialist. So if you have any questions regarding your condition, please see your doctor. Don't forget to click like and subscribe, it helps me a lot. Thanks, guys. Let's get into it. On October 24th, 2021, Carmelo Anthony became the 9th highest scoring player in all of NBA history.
Carmelo looking to become number 9 all time. He's got it! Passes below!
He scored 6 three-pointers in that game and a team high of 28 points, reminding us that he's one of the greatest players of all time. And coincidentally, last week the NBA released their top 75 players of all time, and Carmelo Anthony was on that list.
With the third pick in the 2003 NBA draft, Carmelo Anthony from Syracuse.
In 2003, Carmelo Anthony, also known as Melo, was drafted to the Denver Nuggets, who had one of the worst records in the league with a 20% win rate. He quickly became a star in that team, helping contribute to their improvement to a 50% win team. After playing with them for 7 years, he requested a trade to New York. Between the two teams, he consistently played an average of over 30 minutes a game and averaged over 20 points a game. In 2016, he was traded to Oklahoma City and was put on the bench. He continued to play on average over 32 minutes a game, but his scoring dropped significantly from averaging 20 points a game to 16 points a game. After that season, he was traded to Houston, where he played a few games and was dropped from every team in the league. After 1 year of not playing for any team, the Portland Trail Blazers picked him up for 1 year non-guarantee as a bench player. He contributed to the team, averaging more than when he did in Houston. But something was different this time. He didn't request a trade like he did in Houston and Denver. He didn't cause trouble with management like he did in New York. And he didn't complain about his bench role like he did in Oklahoma City. In fact, there wasn't a lot of controversy from him in the 2 years that he played in Portland. So what happened? You could see that the biggest change for him happened when he went to the Oklahoma City Thunder. He continued to play 90% of the minutes on average that he played before, but his performance dropped significantly. His assists, rebounds, points all dropped. And you could say that maybe it was because he played less time, but in fact, his points dropped 75% of what they were on average. So it must have been a performance drop. So why is that? Well, when he was in Denver, he was the top man. He was their star player, playmaker, role model, and high scorer. But when he went to Oklahoma City, he wasn't that. Oklahoma City already had 2 guys, Russell Westbrook and Paul George. So when Carmelo Anthony came in last minute, they only had position for him on the bench, which means he wasn't their star player or starter. Carmelo Anthony's responsibility changed from being celebrity star player, team leader, high scorer, to bench player literally overnight. And he wasn't happy to become a bench player. He even says, "When I feel like I'm ready to take that role, I'll take that role." He didn't know how to adjust to his new responsibilities. He even was confused about the team dynamics as well. He says about it, "I had to figure it out on my own." Soon after, he was traded and dropped from every team. He even considered his career over. He says, "You were looked at like you were done." Now we could talk about his redemption in Portland, or we could talk about his gratitude there, but I wanted to go deeper and talk about his identity shift. Now we can't tell what was actually in his mind at that time, but what I can tell you is if I was in his position and I was dropped from star player to bench player, it'd be a huge hit to the ego. In fact, some people don't even recover from this. Some people would quit and retire. He was given that opportunity to retire. He had a year off, but he didn't. He did the hard work. He continued practicing and he worked on his identity. He stated, "You have to do what you have to do. It took me a while to get to the point where I'm like, okay, I'm gonna accept it." This shows enormous growth in his character. he was able to accept his new responsibilities and shift his identity from being celebrity star to bench player. It also meant he wasn't going to give up his identity of being an athlete. Growing up, our responsibilities and our identities are linked. As teenagers in high school, if we focus on academics, we're branded the nerd. And if we focus on sports, we're branded the jock. Our identities are linked to our responsibilities. And when our responsibilities change as we're growing up, we start to connect them even further. Here's the proof. If you ask somebody what do they do for a living, they immediately tell you their identity. For example, you don't ask somebody what they're doing and they tell you, I do social work, I engineer things, I help people treat their conditions. No, when you ask people what they do for a living, they tell you, I am a social worker, I am a doctor, I am an engineer. That's how strongly your identity is linked to your profession. But you know what? You could choose your identity. You could say, I'm a great father, or I'm a great worker. Now, I never paid a lot of attention to Carmelo Anthony over the years. I knew he was a superstar player, I knew he was a great athlete, and one of the greatest of all time. But why am I focusing on him now then? It's to point out that even superstars have their identity crises. Your roles and responsibilities can change over time. And with that, your identity can shift. That's okay, as long as you know what responsibilities you have a choice over and which ones you don't. Your identities can shift and your responsibilities can shift. But if you know that you have a choice of what responsibilities are yours, then you can give up the ones that aren't. With Carmelo Anthony, he gave up his responsibilities of being a playmaker, of being the main man in charge, to be a bench role player and support. But that doesn't mean he wasn't one of the greatest players of all time. Your responsibilities may change as well. You may become a family man. And if work comes up and conflicts with the two, you have to make the choice. What is your identity? A worker or a family man? When there's a conflict of responsibilities, you will feel it. You'll feel it conflict inside. Sometimes it comes outside as well, and it'll show in your performance, as we see with Carmelo Anthony. But if you learn to accept what you can't change, and try to do something about the things you can, life changes significantly. You clarify your responsibilities, you clarify your identity. What do you guys think? What are your responsibilities and how do you identify? Let me know in the comments below. If you want to know the top 3 mistakes people make when taking care of their emotional health, check out the free ebook link below. If you're struggling with your emotional reactions and need the tools to help deal with the emotions in the moment, check out the Emotional RX program. If this video has been helpful to you, or you know someone who could use this, don't forget to forward this to them. Don't forget to click like and subscribe. It lets me know if these videos are even helpful. And until next time, guys, stay healthy.